amount, 60 cents are in pennies. Okay. So what are actually pennies? Pennies means that small coins basically. Okay. So 60 cents are in pennies, in the form of pennies. So very small coins. The coins actually, small coins. Okay. So the mention of small coins actually show how hard she has been trying to save bit by bit. Okay, she has been trying to save, right? So it's a very sincere endeavor on her part to be, to be saving money for some, for some purpose, right? So we understand that, or we realize that actually she has been very sincerely, very devotedly doing this task for God knows for how many months or years. Okay, she had saved by bargaining. Okay, and how did she bargain, or in what way she was trying to save more and more money? Okay, she was trying to save the money by bargaining very, very, tightly. Okay, like with the shopkeepers, fine, with the shopkeepers she will be bargaining very, very tightly, though it made her feel very, very ashamed at times. See, there is one line, see, until one's cheeks burned with the silent imputation of parsimony that such close dealing implied. So we see that here, this woman is trying very hard to save her money by tightly bargaining with the shopkeepers, and it was definitely a very shameful act on her part. Means, I'm not saying that it's a shameful act, but she used to be feel very nervous, ashamed. Okay, because it only showed how poor and desperate she was. Okay, see, silent imputation of parsimony actually means that people silently judged her for being so, for being so particular about the money, for being so stingy, or feel, or for being or for being a bit people used to think that maybe she's a miser. Okay, or she's somebody who is very, very particular about the smaller details. Okay, so people never realized the reason, or they never wanted to know the reason, but they were a bit, they were growing critical of her attitude. Okay, and they used to be silently judging her. So they used to judge her critically, and obviously that judgment is more like a misjudgment, right? 3 times Della counted it, $1.87. So see, 3 times she, counted it. So this repetition. Why is this repetition? Why is she counting again and again? Because she felt that, if she had miscounted, okay, if maybe she has more money but she's not able to count it properly, or she has to be more careful. So what does it show? It actually, actually arouses our sympathy for Della, because this is something, or this is a kind of situation which we all have gone through some time in our life. Okay, that we have been saving for a very long time, and then when a meager amount of money is saved, and we keep on counting it with the hope that if we count it twice or thrice, if we are able to get if we are wrong in counting the amount of money, if in case we get to know after counting twice or thrice that yes, there is 1 cent more or 2 cents more, or I have instead of $1 I have $2, but somehow I just miscounted. So with that hope, she was actually counting it again and again. Okay, but this is not only a sign of hope, but this is also a sign of desperation, how desperate she is, okay, about the money. Maybe she really wanted this money to be invested on something very, very something very crucial, some kind of act which is very close to her heart. So at this time we do not know this, but we only know one thing, that this lady really had been trying very, very hard to save money. Okay, okay, then you continue.
বাবু বল। আরে
হ্যালো, হ্যাঁ পড়ো শানু।
Ma'am. There, there was clearly nothing to do but flop down on the shabby little couch and howl. So Della did it, which instigates the moral reflection that life is made up of sobs, sniffles, and smiles, with sniffles predominating.
Okay, so see, Della, after counting the money, obviously, the fact that she's counting it again and again, somehow there is definitely a hope. Okay, there is definitely a hope if she could have, saved more money. Okay, so there is something in her mind. Okay, at this point we don't know what it is, but there is definitely something in her mind. Okay, and for that she was very desperate about the money. Okay, so it is Christmas Eve. Right. So the next sentence tells us that it is Christmas Eve, and and obviously, she has to buy a gift, right? But she doesn't have enough money. Okay, she doesn't have enough money. She was quite, overwhelmed by her helplessness. Right. So see, there was clearly nothing to do but flop down. So what does it show? It shows that she was overwhelmed by her helplessness. She really, wanted to save more money, and maybe since months, okay, or maybe since 2 or 3 years, maybe, I don't know, we don't have any idea about it, but she has been saving money, or she has been trying to to lead a very self restrained, a very restrained kind of life, because she wanted to save money. But eventually we realize that she's unhappy, she's not satisfied with the amount of money that she had saved, and she's overwhelmed because she's feeling very restless. Okay, now nothing can be done, because it's Christmas Eve. Okay, she doesn't have time. She throws herself on the couch and she starts crying. Okay, now see, the next lines say, which instigates the moral reflection that life is made of sobs, sniffles, and smiles. So the narrator out here, okay, the story writer out here is philosophically reflecting that life has joys, life has sorrows. Okay, but mostly, sorrow. Sniffles means mostly sorrows. Okay, so here the storyteller is trying to make us realize that life is definitely, a kind of, amalgamation or a combination of every kind of, feeling. But mainly what we see is, the share of sorrows is sometimes greater. The share of sniffles is sometimes, greater than the share of joys that we have in life. Okay, and in her case, we can say that maybe this is what she thinks. Okay, this is what she thinks, or this is how her life is being projected, that there are definitely happy moments, but as because of the fact that she's leading an impoverished life, or maybe she's not completely impoverished, but maybe she's leading such a kind of life where the wants are more, where where she has many desires, where she has many ambitions or dreams, but mostly she's going through the misfortunes of life, or mainly or mostly she's going through such phases in life where she realizes the incapacities, or the lack of something, or she's in the want of money, because if she had the sufficient amount of money, then there was something that she wanted to do, and she could have done this. But she eventually realizes that no, she does not have enough money to fulfill, or to do, or to buy something that actually her heart wishes. Okay, acha, then coming to paragraph 2. আচ্ছা, শানু পড়ো প্যারাগ্রাফ 2টা পড়ে নাও পুরোটা।
While the mistress of the house is gradually subsiding from the first stage to the second, take a look at the home. A furnished flat at $8 per week, It did not exactly beg a description, but it certainly had that word on the lookout for the mendicancy squad.
Okay. So we see that while Della was busy crying, okay, the writer actually, or the you can say the speaker actually takes some time, okay, to to describe the home. Okay, so while Della was calming down, or while she was taking time to calm down from from sobbing to sniffling, okay, to to feeling a bit better. Okay, so she was just lost in her own you can say lost in her own world. Okay, she was feeling very emotionally numb. Okay, so in that moment only the narrator actually shifts to describe the home. Okay, and we see that Della actually lives in a very modest kind of apartment. Okay, and that is a rented apartment, right? And what is the cost of this rented apartment? $8 per week. Okay, per week, $8 per week, right? So the place is not so bad that it cannot be, described. It is not as bad. See, it is written. It did not exactly beg a description, but it certainly had that word on the lookout for the mendicancy squad. তো এর মানেটা কি যে the place is not so bad that it cannot be described. Beggar description মানে হলো যে এতটা খারাপ না যে ওটাকে describe করা যাবে না, but obviously the situation, okay, or the condition of that rented apartment was was poor enough to draw the attention of charity. ঠিক আছে, কারো দেখে কিন্তু মনে হবে যে না মানে মেবি এতটাও খারাপ না যে ডেসক্রাইবই করা যাবে না, বাট এতটাও ভালো না যে কেউ বলবে যে নো দে লিভ ইন আ ভেরি দে লিভ ইন আ ভেরি or they have sufficient amenities, or they live in very proper conditions. Okay, তো এটাও বলা যাবে না. Obviously, if you look at the flat, or if you look at the rented apartment, people with money, or people who are capable of giving others, they will feel the urge, or they will feel that need to to go for some kind of charity. যে হ্যাঁ মানে ঘর ওদের রেন্টেড অ্যাপার্টমেন্টে ডেফিনেটলি এটা যেটা আর কি মানে যেখানে দেখে মনে হচ্ছে যে হ্যাঁ মানে একটা চ্যারিটি অবশ্যই ওদের দরকার, বা some officers, okay, some officers who are the poor relief officers, ঠিক আছে, যাদেরকে আমরা মেন্ডিক্যান্সি স্কোয়াড বলি, ডেফিনেটলি মানে ওদের ওই অ্যাটেনশনটা আর কি মানে যাবে যে না এদের একটু হলেও they really need some, they are needy. Okay, they are not beggars, but they are needy. এইরকম একটা কন্ডিশন ওদের. আচ্ছা, প্যারাগ্রাফ 3. আচ্ছা, এখন অন্য কেউ পড়ো, শানু তো পড়লো, প্রিয়াঙ্কা পড়ো, প্রিয়াঙ্কা read paragraph 3.
Yes, ma'am. Better for.
কি রে তোর
আমার নেটওয়ার্ক খুব বাজে।
হ্যাঁ, তোদের সবার নেটওয়ার্ক একই দিনে খারাপ হয়ে গেল, তাই না?
না আমার প্রবলেম।
ওই আচ্ছা, তোরা আমার আওয়াজটা শুনতে পাচ্ছিস তো?
হ্যাঁ, আপনারটা ঠিকঠাক শোনা যাচ্ছে।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, থার্ডটা আমি পড়ছি, দেন ফোর্থটা দেখি অন্য কাউকে পড়তে বলবো, দাঁড়াও। আচ্ছা দেখো, ইন দ্য ভেস্টিবিউল বিলো,
পড়বো ওই লিংকটাতে প্রবলেম হচ্ছিল, মানে ওই লিংকটা খুলছিল না। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, ওই জন্যই আমি বুঝতে পারিনি। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, এখন খুলে গেছে ম্যাম আপনি।
ঠিক আছে, প্যারাগ্রাফ 4টা তোকে পড়তে বলবো, দাঁড়া। আচ্ছা শোনো, ইন দ্য ভেস্টিবিউল বিলো was a letter box into which no letter would go, and an electric button from which no mortal finger could coax a ring. ঠিক আছে, তো ওদের যে বিল্ডিংটা না, that building is so old and broken that that no letters will come. Okay, so in the vestibule below was a letter box into which no letter would go. মানে এইরকমই মানে কন্ডিশন যে ওই লেটার বক্সে কোনো লেটারে যাবে না, ঠিক আছে। that electric button from which no mortal finger could coax a ring মানে that actually the doorbell doesn't work. পাতি কথা এটা হলো, the building is old and broken, and that's why the letter box is also in a very you can say in a very in a very deplorable condition. Okay, and the doorbell is also not working. That's why no mortal finger, means no person can actually keep his finger to give a ring. Okay, ring bolte মানে ওই ডোরবেলটা যখন বাজবে. Also appertaining thereunto was a card bearing the name Mr. James Dillingham Young. Okay, and there is a card, okay, with the name of Mr. James Dillingham Young. ঠিক আছে, মানে জিম, আরেকজন যে ক্যারেক্টার ও হলো জিম, তো জিমের যে ফুল নেম মিস্টার জেমস ডিলিংহাম ইয়াং, ওইটা ওখানে কি হচ্ছে, ইট ইজ ডিসপ্লেড, রাইট? তো আমরা কি বুঝতে পারছি যে বাড়িটার কন্ডিশনটা, বিল্ডিং এর কন্ডিশনটা খুবই ওল্ড অ্যান্ড ব্রোকেন। কোনো লেটার আর কি ওখান থেকে আসবে না, ওখানে যাবে না, কোনো ডোরবেলও কাজ করে না, কিন্তু একটা নাম আছে বাইরের দিকে, সেটা হলো দ্য নেম অফ জিম, দ্য ফুল নেম অফ জিম, মিস্টার জেমস ডিলিংহাম ইয়াং। ওকে, সো দ্যাট ইজ ডিসপ্লেড। The Dillingham had been flung to the breeze during a former period of prosperity when its possessor was being paid $30 per week. So there was a time when when Jim, or you can say the Dillinghams, actually they had they had a better life. Okay, so they were doing financially very well. So Jim actually earned $30 per week. Okay, and at that time they used that fancy full name. ওরা ওই সময় ওই পুরো নেমটা যে মিস্টার জেমস ডিলিংহাম ইয়াং, মানে ওইটা আর কি তখন ওরা ইউজ করতো। ওকে, যখন ওদের ইট ওয়াজ a former period of prosperity, they used to be very financially strong, right? But now the situation is different. Why? Because now when the income was shrunk to $20, the letters of Dillingham looked blurred, as though they were thinking seriously of contracting to a modest and unassuming deed. So now that they are poorer, now the situation has changed, now the condition has deteriorated, and now the social condition or the social condition, economic condition has deteriorated. Okay, so now that they are poorer, even the long middle name Dillingham, it feels too grand, okay, for that place and also for the people. And that's why মানে আমরা অবশ্যই এমনি না যে ওই ওদের সময় খারাপ যাচ্ছে বলে ওই লেখাটাও ব্লার হয়ে গেছে, ওইটার জন্য না, অবশ্যই সময়ের সাথে সাথে ওই লেখাটার কে মানে বলতে পারো ওর লেখাটা ব্লার হয়ে যাচ্ছে, কারণ মেনটেনেন্স নেই, ওই রকম ভাবে ওরা মেনটেন করতে পারছে না, তার জন্য অবশ্যই কি হচ্ছে, দ্য বিল্ডিং that is broken, that is old beyond maintenance, they are not able to maintain it, ওই রেন্টেড অ্যাপার্টমেন্টটাকে ওরা ঠিক করে করতে পারছে না। হ্যাঁ, এখন কি যে ওই লেখাটা যেটা আর কি একটা সময় they used to take a sense of pride from it, okay, এখন কি আছে যে ওইটা আর কি মানে ব্লার হয়ে গেছে, ওর লেখাটাও কেমন হয়ে গেছে, কিন্তু ওরা মানে লেখাটা এরকম মানে এতটা ব্লার হয়ে গেছে যে কারো দেখে মনে হবে যে মেবি as because they are poorer now, that's why they have thought of cutting down their name. এত ওরা মাত্র $20 কামাচ্ছে আর এত বড় নাম মানে থাকবে ওখানে, তো ঠিক আছে না, ওর থেকে ভালো আছে যে ডিলিংহাম থেকে একটা ছোট্ট ডি করে নি, তাহলে আমরা যেখানে থাকছি আর যেরকম ভাবে থাকছি তার সাথে সাথে ওটা স্যুট করবে, মানে you can say a very humorous way of showing the people's challenging situations in life. ঠিক আছে, তো ওইটাই যে মানে যেটা ও হেনরি বলছে যে এত বড় নাম, তো কিন্তু আগে গ্র্যান্ডারও ছিল, আগে ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল কন্ডিশন ভালো ছিল, তাই বলে এত বড় নাম চলেও যেত, কিন্তু এখন মানে লেখাটা এমনি হয়ে গেছে, এত ব্লার হয়ে গেছে যে দেখে মনে হবে যে বিকজ they have become poorer, that's why maybe the name also, okay, or that surname, okay, that middle name, basically that middle name has also been changed to or contracted to something which seems to be modest, which seems to be unassuming, মানে not showing pride, okay, not showing pride or superiority, মানে ওইটাকে just modestly ওইটাকে ডিলিংহাম থেকে ডি করে দেওয়া হয়েছে, বাট অ্যাকচুয়ালি করে দেওয়া হয়নি, ইটস বিকজ অফ দ্য ল্যাক অফ মেইনটেনেন্স, or it is because of the the words that have become blurred with time. Okay, but whenever Mr. James Dillingham Young came home and reached his flat above, he was called Jim and greatly hugged by Mrs. James Dillingham Young, already introduced to you as Della, which is all very good. Okay, so despite their poverty, Okay, so this is what we are told, that despite their poverty, Della always, greeted Jim very lovingly. So as a wife, Della is very, very, you can say Della is very, loving, caring, affectionate, very sincere in terms of her affection, okay, or love towards Jim. So poverty was definitely a problem. The financial crisis or the deterioration, okay, that was definitely a challenge, but even in this challenge, Della used to greet Jim very lovingly whenever he used to get home back. So their affection remains very strong, and that last sentence, which is all very good, so which is all very good, actually emphasizes that for James or for Jim and Della, what is more important is their love. Okay, their love matters more than the money that that Jim is earning actually. Fine. Okay. Then paragraph 4. Paragraph 4 টা পড়ো অন্বেষা।
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম। ডেলা finished her cry, শোনা যাচ্ছে তো?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ।
হ্যাঁ। Della finished her cry and attended to her cheeks with the powder rag. She stood by the window and looked out dully at a grey cat walking a grey fence in a grey background. Tomorrow would be Christmas Day, and she had only $1.87 with which to buy Jim a present. She had been saving every penny she could for months, with this result. $20 a week doesn't go far. Expenses had been greater than she had calculated. They always are. Only $1.87 to buy a present for Jim. Her Jim. Many a happy hour she had spent planning for something nice for him. Something fine and rare and startling. Something just a little bit near to being worthy of the honor of being owned by Jim.
Okay, so see, this is the 4th paragraph, right? So this 4th paragraph definitely, arouses our pity, our sympathy, okay, looking at or contemplating the sincerity of her emotion, okay, the reverence, okay, the reverential kind of love that she has for Jim, even though his earning is not up to the mark, or it's not maybe catering to all their demands, but still in Della's eyes, Jim is somebody who is very rare, somebody who is very, very precious, okay. So Della was crying because she felt that she won't be able to gift him something of her choice, okay, or something which he truly is deserving of, okay. So after crying, when she threw herself on the sofa and she was crying, right? So after crying, she wiped her face and she was fixing her makeup, right? Okay. And she stood by the window and looked out dully at a grey cat. So the scene outside actually reflects her mood only. That, looked out dully at a grey cat walking a grey fence in a grey backyard. So see this grey word. 3 times this grey word is repeated. So this word grey, actually it stands for what? For something which is, colorless, something which is dreary, something which is dismal, something which lacks the warmth, the cheerfulness, the liveliness, the colors of life, okay. So she is gloomy, and when she is looking outside, she feels that, okay, everything is gloom. Okay, so when you are unhappy, when you are disappointed, when you are gloomy, it also affects your perception of the outside world. Okay, so when she is standing, okay, she is standing by the window and she's looking out, that external world is reflecting her mood, okay. And the external world and the external things, the things that she's talking about, or not she, but the author is talking about, it reflects her, or it reinforces her gloom, okay. Upset because she wants to give Jim something which would be very meaningful, very close to his heart. Okay, and maybe she had something in her mind. Okay, we are not told about that particular thing, but maybe she had something, and maybe unfortunately, she thinks that with this meager amount of money, I will not be able to buy something which is very fascinating or something which would be appropriate for Jimmy or for Jim. Okay, and despite months of saving, she only managed to gather $1.87, $1.87. Okay. So their low income uh, only, or you can say that their low income barely covered or barely, catered to all the essential things that they needed. Whatever is essential for a family to run, maybe with that, meager amount of money, $20 only, maybe that somehow maybe that is not that does not cater to all the demands of a family of two people. Okay, so maybe somehow they are just trying to make their ends meet, and then in addition, when she has to buy something which will be, quite fascinating, something special, she actually needs money. Means this is how she is analyzing the entire scenario, that we lower middle class people, we have our own set of struggles, we have our own set of challenges. Okay, we are barely able to cover all the essentials that we need, and then on the top of all, now that I do not have I do not have time, and I'm running out of a significant amount of money or a lump sum amount of money. How do I afford to buy something for Jim? Okay, for my Jim. Again, she's repeating the same amount, only $1.87 to buy a present for her Jim. Okay, so so by repeating the amount, actually in her mind, she's stressing. She's stressing out. Okay, while she's stressing out, or while she's feeling distressed because of that meager amount of money, the author or the storyteller is stressing or emphasizing her disappointment, her sorrow, her helplessness as well. Okay, and by using these two words, her Jim, so it conveys a deeper affection, a very sincere, a very profound affection for the person in consideration. Okay, so she really loves him. She is happy even in such a kind of scenario where they have to meet so many challenges every day. They have to meet challenges every day. They are facing so many problems. Okay, be it financial, be it the emotional struggles. Okay, everything. Then when she realizes that despite my struggles, despite so many desperate endeavors, I am only left with a meager amount of money, that actually makes her very sad. So she was very joyful. Many a happy hours she had invested thinking that I would give this, I would buy this gift, this would be perfect for Jim. So she had been thinking about so many things. She had been creating her own happy stories in her mind, and she felt that I would be able to give this to my Jim, he will be so happy. So there were so many stories like concocted in her mind. Okay, and she always wanted a gift that would be very special, that would be very valuable, and Jim is to her. Okay, so when somebody is very special to you, you keep on thinking about all the possible gifts in the world that would be as special as the person is to you. Because sometimes what happens, whatever you buy, you just feel like, no, this is not sufficient for him, or this is not I would like to give that person, there is nothing as special as that person. So all those things where all those romanticized concepts or notions where keep on where like lingering in her mind. Okay, so she wanted something that would be fine, that would be rare, very rare, and sterling means something which is excellent, something which is very pure. Okay, sterling. something which would be, excellent, and something which is so unique that maybe Jim had never thought of that particular thing. Okay. Acha, then read paragraph 5.
There was a pier glass between the windows of the room. Perhaps you have seen a pier glass in an $8 flat. A very thin and very agile person may, by observing his reflection in a rapid sequence of longitudinal strips, obtain a fairly accurate conception of his looks. Della, being slender, had mastered the art.
Okay, so in paragraph 5, we are told that Della approaches a mirror on the wall between the windows. Okay, so between the windows, there is a mirror on the wall. She just approached.
গ্লাস মানে মিরর বলতে চাই
মিরর কি বলে যেখানে আর কি ও নিজের, হ্যাঁ মানে ইন শর্ট তুমি বলতে পারো পিয়ার গ্লাস হলে কেমন বলতো, মেইনলি কেমন টাইপের মিরর আমি বলছি, দেখবে তোমরা দেখবে একটু টল অ্যান্ড ন্যারো, যেগুলো আর কি মানে দুটো উইন্ডোর মাঝখানে আর কি মানে প্লেস করার মতন আর কি মানে প্লেস করা যাবে এই রকমের আর কি করা হয়। ঠিক আছে, আমি দাঁড়াও তোমাদেরকে ফটোটা পাঠাচ্ছি, তাহলে তোমাদের মানে সুবিধা হবে বুঝতে। মানে আমি জানি না যে ঠিক একদম এক্স্যাক্টলি আমি ব্যাপারটা আর কি বোঝাতে ক্লিয়ার ক্লাস আমি দেখছি তারা। হ্যাঁ দেখো, এই যে দেখো এই যে এই কনসেপ্টটা দেখো গ্রুপে পাঠালাম, দেখছো তো? দেখো ভাবো দুই দিকে দুটো উইন্ডো আছে, তো তার মাঝখানে ধরে নাও একটা লম্বা করে পাতলা করে একটা একটা পিয়ার গ্লাস মানে উইন্ডো মানে মিরর। ওকে, গ্রুপে দেখলে তোমরা ওই কনসেপ্টটা মানে ওই রকমের পিয়ার গ্লাস হবে।
ওকে ম্যাম।
ঠিক আছে, মানে এইরকমের আর কি অনেকটা দেখতে হবে। ঠিক আছে, আচ্ছা তো এখন কি হয়, ডেলা মানে হ্যাঁ ডেলা অবশ্যই কি হচ্ছে, ওর তো মন খারাপ, আর ও একা আছে, এখন ও ভাবছে মানে যেই ব্যাপারটা নিয়ে যে একটা হয় না যে অনেক আশা করার পর বা অনেক কষ্টে কিছু টাকা জমানোর পর eventually when you realize that no, maybe I'm not able to buy that thing which I wanted, or maybe in this, with this meager amount of money I won't be able to buy something which he's deserving of. Okay, so just while contemplating these things, a bit melancholic, a bit sorrowful, she approached a mirror on the wall between the windows. Okay, and now we see that when means the next line is written with the concept, or with you can say with the intention to you can say communicate with the reader. ঠিক আছে, দেখো বলছে না, পারহ্যাপস ইউ হ্যাভ সিন আ পিয়ার গ্লাস ইন অ্যান $8 ফ্ল্যাট। তো নারেটর রিডারদেরকে বলছে যে আশা করি তোমরা আর কি একটা $8 ফ্ল্যাটে কি রকমের একটা পিয়ার গ্লাস হবে না হবে, বা তোমরা আশা করি হয়তো দেখেছো, মানে ওই এটাতে $8 ফ্ল্যাট বলে আবার ওই বোঝানোর চেষ্টা করছে যে ওরা কতটা আর কি একটা চিপ, কতটা আর কি মানে ধরে নাও একটু হলেও মানে ইম্পভারিশ বা নিডি সিচুয়েশনের মধ্যে থাকতো। তো অবশ্যই ওই যে মিররটা, যেটা ওই মিররটা maybe the mirror is present there obviously, but the mirror is cheap, the mirror is narrow, the mirror is not high quality mirror. Okay, and this mirror is so narrow that you have to move side to side to see your full reflection. Okay, you cannot just মানে স্ট্রেট তুমি ওখানে মানে ওটা এতটাই মানে যে তোমাকে কি করতে হবে, একবার এই সাইডে একবার এই সাইড, মানে তোমাকে জাস্ট করে ইউ হ্যাভ টু স্ট্যান্ড বিফোর দ্যাট মিরর, বিকজ তুমি একা দাঁড়িয়ে ওখানে তুমি ভাবতে পারো না যে জাস্ট আমি এমনি করে দাঁড়ালাম বলে মানে হয়ে যাবে, কি বলে আমার ফুল ইমেজটা আমি ভালো করে দেখতে পারবো। ওটা এতটাই মানে ন্যারো, ওই the narrowness of that that mirror again actually emphasizes the fact that these people are লিভিং ইন পভার্টি, ওরা পভার্টিতে থাকছে। তো ওই মিররটা খুবই ন্যারো, যে তোমাকে কি করতে হবে, নিজের ফুল রিফ্লেকশনটাকে মানে দেখার জন্য কি করতে হবে, ইউ হ্যাভ টু মুভ সাইড টু সাইড। ওকে, তো অবভিয়াসলি এর মধ্যে ওদের পভার্টি ডিটেলিংও আছে, তার সাথে সাথে মানে একটা হিউমারাস আউটলুকও আছে। যখন তো when you are leading a impoverished life, that only thing that can save you is your contentment, a sense of contentment and your humor। ঠিক আছে, মানে এখানে লেখা আছে a very thin and very agile, মানে একটা খুবই অ্যাজাইল, খুবই ফ্লেক্সিবল, খুবই আর কি, যেটাকে আমরা বলি একটা মানে খুবই মানে যেটা ফুর্তিলা, যাকে আমরা বলি অ্যাজাইল পারসন মে বাই অবজার্ভিং হিজ রিফ্লেকশন ইন আ র্যাপিড সিকোয়েন্স অফ longitudinal stripes obtain a fairly accurate conception of his looks। Okay, so in order to have a fair conception of your looks, you need to be very thin and agile, because if you're not thin and agile, then it is very difficult to see a sound or see a proper reflection of yourself. So again, the detailing of poverty has been given in a very humorous manner. Della, being slender, had mastered the art. So Della is very thin. She is thin enough to make this work. She is thin enough to use this pier glass in a very proper manner. Okay, so again, this is again a kind of characterization that yes, Della was quite slender. Okay, now coming to paragraph 6. Suddenly she whirled from the window and stood before the glass. Suddenly she's whirled from the window and stood before the glass, মানে কি, যে কিছু ওর মাথায় আসলো, some a sudden idea strikes her. Okay, that's why there is a change there is a change in the you can say a change in the mood. হঠাৎ করে উইন্ডোকে দেখতে দেখতে হঠাৎ করে ও আয়নার সামনে গিয়ে দাঁড়ালো, তো কিছু একটা মাথায় এসেছে, তার জন্য ও আয়নার সামনে গিয়ে দাঁড়ালো। Her eyes were shining brilliantly, but her face had lost its color within 20 seconds. Okay, so there was some reason that her eyes were shining brightly. She was excited, yet she was anxious. So there was something in her mind, right? Something really, really, emotional was going inside her, or was, happening inside her, because though, though her eyes were shining, but within 20 seconds, again, something happened, or something just crossed her mind, that the color of her face, it just changed. Okay, means the color on her face, the ruddiness, the excitement on her face, it just subsided. Rapidly she pulled down her hair and let it fall to its full length. ও কি করলো, যে ও she pulled down her hair and let it fall to its full length. She was checking she just let her hair loose. She was looking at her hair, so there was something in her mind. So see, this action will be very symbolic and significant, because now she is going to make a sacrifice. Now there will be a turning point in the story, or something is going to happen that will make all the readers feel awe and admiration for the love that these two people have for each other. Okay, so now we are people who know the story, you will realize that obviously she is going to make a sacrifice. Okay, this act of letting her hair fall at its full length, okay, this is an action which is symbolic, it is significant in the course of the story. Okay, so paragraph 7 now, পড়ো অন্বেষা।
Now there are two possessions of the কোথায় গেল, হ্যাঁ, now there are two possessions of the James Dillingham Youngs, in which they both took a mighty pride. One was Jim's gold watch, that had been his father's and his grandfather's. The other was Della's hair. Had the Queen of Sheba lived in the flat across the air shaft, Della would have let her long hair hang out the window someday to dry, just to depreciate her Majesty's jewels and gifts. Had King Solomon been the janitor, with all his treasures piled up in the basement, Jim would have pulled out his watch every time he passed, just to see him pluck at his beard from envy.
ওকে, তো দেখো এখন যে এখানে ন্যারেটর এখন আমাদেরকে একটা মানে একটা ইনফরমেশন দেয়, ধরে না একটা ইনফরমেশন বা একটা এমনি কিছু বলে যেটা এই স্টোরিতে রেলেভেন্ট হবে। ওকে, so he says that there are two most possessed or two most prized or treasured belongings or possessions, okay, of James Dillingham Young. ওকে, জিমের দুটো খুবই প্রাইস পজিশন আছে, হয়তো ওরা অনেক প্রবলেমে থাকছে, অনেক চ্যালেঞ্জিং সিচুয়েশনে আছে, বাট দুটো এমনি জিনিস আছে যেটা আর কি ওই ডিলিংহামদের জন্য খুবই ইম্পর্টেন্ট বা খুবই প্রাইস পজিশন, খুবই ট্রেজার্ড একটা পজিশন। সেটা হলো একটা হলো মানে একটা ফ্যামিলি হেয়ারলুমের মতন, ঠিক আছে, জিমের ওই গোল্ড ওয়াচটা যেটা আর কি গ্র্যান্ডফাদার ফাদারকে দিয়েছিল আর ফাদার হয়তো জিমকে দিয়েছেন ওই গোল্ড ওয়াচটা। সো ইট ইজ আ কাইন্ড অফ লাইক পাসিং অন a kind of thing that has sentimental value, ঠিক আছে। তো এই জিনিসটা এই ওয়াচটা জিমের জন্য অনেক সেন্টিমেন্টাল ভ্যালিউ রাখে। তো এটা একটা ধরে নাও এটা একটা ফ্যামিলি ট্রেডিশনের মতন, রাইট? তো এটা একটা খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট জিমের জন্য। আর সেকেন্ড যে জিনিসটা জিমের জন্য এই মুহূর্তে খুব ইম্পর্টেন্ট সেটা হলো ডেলার বিউটিফুল হেয়ার, বিকজ ডেলাস বিউটি lies in her long beautiful hair. Okay, so it is not only a source of pride for Della, but also, a source of pride and happiness, okay, for and admiration for whom? For Jim as well. Okay, তো এখন কি হচ্ছে এখানে এখানে বলা হচ্ছে দেখো, had the queen of Sheba lived in the flat across the air shaft, Della would have let her hair hang out the window someday to dry, just to depreciate her majesty's jewels and gifts. So এখানে আর কি একটা একটা হাইপারবোল ইউজ করা হচ্ছে, একটা এক্সাজারেটেড স্টেটমেন্ট ইউজ করা হয়েছে, জাস্ট টু ম্যাগনিফাই অর জাস্ট টু গ্লোরিফাই দ্য বিউটিফুল হেয়ার অফ ডেলা। তো এখানে কুইন অফ শিবার কথা বলা হচ্ছে, ঠিক আছে। কুইন অফ শিবা বেসিক্যালি জাস্ট মনে রেখো যে শি ইজ আ কাইন্ড অফ ফিগার, ওকে, অ্যান এনশিয়েন্ট ফিগার। মেনলি তুমি কুইন অফ শিবাকে রিলিজিয়াস টেক্সট গুলোতে পাবে, যেমন বাইবেল বা কোরআন, ওখানেও আর কি মেনশন আছে। তো কুইন অফ শিবা ওয়াজ আ ভেরি পাওয়ারফুল অ্যান্ড ওয়েলদি কুইন ফ্রম ইথিওপিয়া। Okay, fine. And she was also, known for her intelligence, okay, her wealth, and there are many other legends as well that are, that revolve around her authority, her reign. Okay, ঠিক আছে। তো ওকে নিয়ে কুইন শিবাকে নিয়ে কিন্তু মানে অনেক কিছু আর কি মানে স্টোরিজ গুলো আছে, ঠিক আছে। হ্যাঁ, তো এখন কি বলে এই যে ইয়ে কি বলছে, কি বলে এখানে রাইটার কি বলছে যে ইয়ে কি বলে তোমার ডেলার চুলটা এতটাই সুন্দর ছিল, ওকে, হার এন্টায়ার অ্যাপিয়ারেন্স, ওকে, ইট ওয়াজ সো ম্যাগনিফিসেন্ট দ্যাট ইভেন এনি ভেরি কুইন লাইক দ্য কুইন অফ শিবা, even they, Shiva, they would seem poor by comparison. So if you compare the hair of Della and whatever jewels and gifts Queen of Sheba had, then after that comparison, even the Queen of Sheba, she would fall short. Okay, so Della যে majestic hair বা Della's যে magnificent hair, it is enough to make even a wealthy queen feel very very insecure and jealous. তো এটা একটা হাইপারবোল, রাইট, একটা হাইপারবোল বা একটা এক্সাজারেটেড স্টেটমেন্ট, জাস্ট ব্যাপারটাকে ম্যাগনিফাই করার জন্য। Had King Solomon been the janitor with all his treasures piled up in the basement, Jim would have pulled out his watch every time he passed, just to see him pluck at his beard from envy. So, যেমন শিবা আর ডেলার হেয়ার, ওকে, কম্পেয়ার করে ডেলার হেয়ার কে আর কি মানে ইয়ে করছে, সুপিরিয়র বলছে বা সুপ্রিম বলছে, তেমনই বলা হচ্ছে যে জিমও নিজের ওয়াচকে নিয়ে এতটা পজেসিভ, জিমের ওয়াচটা জিমের জন্য এতটা প্রিশিয়াস যে কি বলে কিং সলোমন, হ্যাঁ, ওর যদি সব ট্রেজার গুলোকে মানে একটা পাইল আপ করে বেসমেন্টে রাখা হয়, জিম কিন্তু কি করবে ওখান থেকে মানে যতবারই পাস করবে হি উইল নট লুক ফর এনি আদার থিংস, ও কি করবে ওই ওয়াচটাকেই কি করবে বারবার ইয়ে করবে কি বলে মানে তুলবে। হ্যাঁ, ওই ওয়াচটা জিমের জন্য এতটা ইম্পর্টেন্স যে অ্যাজ কম্পেয়ার টু আদার পজেশনস আদার ওয়েলথ, জিম উড অলওয়েজ চুজ সামথিং অর দ্যাট থিং উইচ হ্যাজ সেন্টিমেন্টাল ভ্যালিউ। ঠিক আছে, আর এটা দেখে কি হবে ইভেন দ্য ওয়াইস কিং সলোমন ইভেন হি উড এনভি ইট। ঠিক আছে, যে এত সবকিছু ছেড়ে ওইটাকেই আর কি মানে চুজ কেন করছে। তো এখানে কিং সলোমন আর কুইন অফ শেবা ওদের সাথে কম্পেয়ার করে জিম আর ডেলাকে অনেক রকম ভাবে বা নিজেদের মানে ইয়েগুলোর মানে ওদের অ্যাট্রিবিউটস ওদের ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক্স ওদের অ্যাকশনস গুলোকে দেখিয়ে ওদেরকে সুপিরিয়র দেখানোর চেষ্টা করা হচ্ছে। সো অবভিয়াসলি মানে এর মধ্যে হিউমার আছে, এর মধ্যে হাইপারবোল আছে। ঠিক আছে, আচ্ছা আমরা তারপর যাব পরের প্যারাগ্রাফটাতে। ঠিক আছে, আচ্ছা এখন অন্য অন্য একজন কেউ পড়ো, প্যারাগ্রাফ 8টা অন্য একজন কেউ পড়ো। কে পড়বে?
ম্যাম পড়বো?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ পড়ো।
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম। So now Della's beautiful hair fell about her, rippling and shining like a cascade of brown waters. It reached below her knee and made itself almost garment for her. And then she did it up again nervously and quickly. Once she fluttered for a minute and stood still while a tear or two splashed on the old red carpet.
ঠিক আছে, তো দেখো এখন কি হচ্ছে ডেলা কি করছে আমি যেটা বললাম যে নাও হার এন্টায়ার ফোকাস ইজ অন হার হেয়ার। ওকে, সো ডেলা শি lets down her long luxurious hair. Okay, and we see that her long luxurious beautiful hair, okay, is described poetically as a shimmering waterfall of brown waters. ঠিক আছে, এটা জাস্ট মানে পোয়েটিক্যালি জাস্ট মানে একটু সুন্দরভাবে ওর ওর হেয়ারটাকে ওর হেয়ারের যে কোয়ালিটি ওর যে ম্যাগনিফিসেন্ট হেয়ার ওইটাই আরেকটু মানে ইয়ে করার জন্য গ্লোরিফাই করার জন্য ম্যাগনিফাই করার জন্য কি করা হচ্ছে পোয়েটিক্যালি কিছু টার্ম ইউজ করা হচ্ছে, সেটা হলো যে শিমারিং মানে স্পার্কলিং শিমারিং গ্লিটারিং। ওকে, waterfall of brown waters. Okay, so maybe she had brown water, maybe she had brown hair. তো ওইটাকে বলছে যে ও চুলটা খুলছে যখন মনে হচ্ছে যে it is a waterfall of brown waters and there is so much of there is so much of spark or there is so much of like a glittery splendor about her about her hair. So it's a shimmering waterfall, shining waterfall of brown waters. Okay, so again the beauty and the and the supreme quality, the value of her hair is being emphasized. Okay, so in the next sentence we see that that Della's hair, okay, it reached below her knee, means her hair is so long that it covers her body like a dress, right? Below her knee means almost it becomes a garment for her, like a dress she wears her hair. Okay, so this image actually you can say this is an image which stands for richness. Okay, richness of beauty. Okay, richness of feminine beauty, right? So you can say in short you can say that this particular image that her hair is so long that it covers her it covers almost her entire body like a dress. This image is being created to emphasize upon the richness and the femininity of Della. Okay, and then what she does is that she hurriedly ties it back. ও তাতে নিজের চুলটাকে বেঁধে নেয়, যেটাতে আমরা বুঝতে পারছি যে yes she is going through anxiety. She's not actually anxiety but in a moment driven by anxiety and inner conflict about what she's about to do. Okay, ওইটাকে নিয়ে ও একটু খালি কি করে চুলটাকে তাদের বেঁধে নেয়। ঠিক ঠিক আছে, তাড়াতাড়ি করে বেঁধে নেয়, because that idea which came to her mind, it is quite, for a girl to cut down her hair or to sacrifice her hair, it is definitely an idea which, which when it strikes her mind and when she keeps on thinking about it, when she starts thinking about it, it actually, makes her anxiety driven for some time, and she starts, like she starts going through a kind of inner conflict. Am I really, going to do this, or shall I give it a second thought? So there is anxiety, there is inner conflict in her mind about what she is going to do with her hair. Okay. And then, she hesitates. So one moment she faltered means she hesitates. Okay. Why? Because the thought itself is a bit scary, not a bit, but rather obviously for a woman it is scary to to sacrifice her such beautiful hair, such long beautiful hair. So she was overwhelmed by emotion, she was hesitating. Okay. And see, then there is a mention of a worn red carpet. Worn red carpet actually symbolizes their poverty. Okay. দেখো লাইনটা আছে না, once she faltered for a minute and stood still while a tear or two splashed on the worn red carpet. So she hesitates because she was overwhelmed by emotion, and the worn red carpet actually symbolizes their poverty. Okay. And adds a touch of pathos to the moment, right? Okay. So that red carpet over there, it was worn, right? So again we are directed, again we are, our minds are directed, okay, to or diverted to what idea? The idea of poverty, the idea of pathos. Okay. Right. So for a moment she hesitated, for a moment she faltered, and she was standing there. And what happened? The very moment when she realizes that no, I don't have any other, I don't have any other option. If I really love him, if I really want to give him something special, I have to make this sacrifice. So a tear or two, splashed on the worn red carpet. So the carpet was worn. The carpet was not in a good condition. So again, the poverty, the idea of poverty, the poverty in which they are living, that idea is emphasized with the worn red carpet. Okay. And there is also a moment of pathos, because there is a moment of, unhappiness. There is a moment of, of disappointment. There is a moment of sorrow. There is a moment of restlessness and helplessness that I cannot, I want to see, I want to buy something really special for him, unique for him, but for that, I don't have money. I have to sacrifice what is the most, what is the most important to me, and only after sacrificing what is the most valuable to me, I can gift him with something that he is really deserving of. Okay. On went her old brown jacket, on went her old brown hat. So now she's getting ready. Okay. She puts on her shabby clothes, and that old word actually emphasizes again on how little they have. Okay. And now she's going to make a sacrifice. Okay. So she is all ready for it. She has made up her mind. She shed one or two tears, but somehow she feels that more than her beauty, what is important is the love that she has for Jim. With a whirl of skirts and with a brilliant sparkle still in her eyes, she fluttered out the door and down the stairs to the street. So, despite her poverty, she is energized by the love and excitement that she has now. Okay. And she's very hopeful. She fluttered out the door. Means she is hopeful. Okay. She's excited and she rushes out. So she has now that she has decided that she is going to sacrifice her hair. So despite this poverty, okay, she is she's going to do something for the love of her life, for Jimmy. So she's energized by love and excitement, and she's very hopeful. She's very exhilarated about what she's going to do, and she's just rushing out. Okay, fine. Where she stopped, the sign read, saffroni hair, goods of all kinds. So she arrives at a shop that buys and sells hair. Okay, and now we are clear about one thing, that she has made, her mind. She is intended to sell her beautiful brown hair. One flight up, Della ran and collected herself, panting. So she rushes upstairs and she pauses to catch her breath. Okay, why? Because she's nervous. Obviously, she's nervous and she's in a great speed, but she's determined as well that no, whatever happens, I will, make the sacrifice. Okay? Madam, large, too white, chilly, hardly looked the Saffroni. So, Madam Saffroni, okay, or Madame Saffroni, she is white, chilly, means she's impersonal. She's cold. She has a business-like appearance. She's very professional by attitude. Okay, she does not, she's not. She will not be very she will not be very, like cozy with you, or she will not be very very, or you can say unexpectantly or unconditionally generous towards you. Okay, so this is the difference, and this is the highlight of the moment, that this woman with so much of personal feelings, emotions, warmth in her heart, she has gone to sacrifice her hair. But over there is Madame Saffroni, who is impersonal, who is very cold, and she has a business-like appearance. Okay, her appearance does not quite match with her elegant name. So the name is very elegant, but her appearance is very white. Means this appearance is very chilly. Means when she's very cold, she only understands business, and other than that, she does not, give any any importance to any other thing. Not even emotions, not even feelings. So she went there, and her work is to just buy the hair and give her the money. Okay, so this is what this happens at that place, at Madame Saffroni's place. Okay, will you buy my hair? Asks Della. So Della straightforwardly offers to sell her most prized possession. I buy hair, said Madam. Take your hat off and let's have a sight at the looks of it. So the Madam, Madam Saffroni replies in a very rough tone. She, in her tone, there is no warmth, there is no, friendliness. So she's very business minded, and she says that means, what she means is that it depends on your hair. If you have good hair, I will buy it. Otherwise, I'm not going to, give you any more of my time. So she, in a very, rough tone, she talks back, okay, which shows that she's into business, and she's very practical. She's not sentimental. She only, talks, or she only speaks things that she feels are important to be, spoken. Down rippled the brown cascade. So as Della removed her hat, the beautiful hair, the long beautiful hair, it fell down once again. Okay, $20, said Madame, lifting the mass with a practiced hand. So Madame Saffroni, she started examining the hair professionally, and she said that $20. Okay, so she said that $20. She just made a statement. Okay, and this is definitely a very very significant amount for Della. Okay, so Della, Della, she had no idea whether her hair is deserving of more money or not. But she is happy about one thing, that this money is more than 10 times than I had before. So $20 will be enough for me, and she is ecstatic. She is happy. Okay, give it to me quick, said Della. So Della, she's not thinking about she's not thinking about the pain, or she's not thinking about the sorrowfulness that she will feel when her hair will be completely cut short. She just says that, okay, fine, just give me it, give the money to me immediately. So she is so desperate for the money, because she has to buy gift for her husband. Okay, so she doesn't hesitate. once the deal is made, she is ready to sacrifice her hair and she is all ready to take that money. Okay, fine. আচ্ছা, এরপর নেক্সট আমি পরের দিন পড়বো, আর আশা করি ওই দিন আমাদের এটা মানে আমি শেষ করিয়ে দেবো পুরো টেক্সটটা, ঠিক আছে? এন্ড ইফ উই গেট টাইম উই উইল স্টার্ট সামথিং এলস অ্যাজ ওয়েল। আজকে এতটাই থাকুক, আই হ্যাভ সাম ওয়ার্ক টু ডু। আচ্ছা, আমি তোমাদেরকে বলে দিচ্ছি, আইদার স্যাটারডে অর সানডে আমি আবার ক্লাস নেব। ওকে, সেখানে আমি এটা শেষ করবো। আই উইল লেট ইউ নো আইদার স্যাটারডে ইভিনিং। স্যাটারডে হয়তো আমি নিয়ে নেবো, সানডে মেবি আমার হবে না। তো তোমরা আমাকে একটু মানে মনে করাতে পারো, কালকে তো ফ্রাইডে আমার হবে না, স্যাটারডে। ওকে, স্যাটারডে আমি ইভিনিং এ তোমাদের ক্লাসটা নেবো। ওকে, ঠিক আছে, আমি টেক্সট করবো, কিন্তু তাও আমি বলবো যে সকালবেলা দিকে একবার আমাকে কেউ মেসেজ করো যে আমি স্যাটারডে বিকেলবেলা তোমাদের ক্লাসটা নেবো, ঠিক আছে? থ্যাংক ইউ ক্লাস।
ওকে ম্যাম।